Ah, it's been a while. Of course. Go ahead.
About the Raiden Gokuden, yeah.
Oh. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. Very well. I'll tell you what I know once more.
Yeah, who screwed up the Raiden Gokuden?
The once renowned Raiden Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju.
Yes, we know
The
that from
art
the
of
event.
forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became 5 distinct traditions. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, and for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive.
What about the Ishin art?
But fortunately, Kaedehara Kazuha
Okay, there you go.
recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain of the original Gokuden 5. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Okay, so Kazuha's story quest is still
Oh, yeah,
Apple-
we were.
applicable here.
Paimon remembers that now. We
Yeah.
learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then, too. It seems like such a shame.
What was the reason for the decline?
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. Only recently, when the question was on my mind, did I ask Kaedehara Kazuha about this. He told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, it was right that I should know the truth. There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokuden
Try.
were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster.
I'm sure Niwa.
Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa,
Right.
though he had family ties to the Kaedehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out. The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphaned son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the world. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this grudge, living in utter misery. Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He could bear their fate no longer, and yet he could do nothing to change it. Finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent-up anger and shake the very foundations of Inazuma's forging industry. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokuden.
That's a worse outcome than what Scaramouche did, like, previously. Before he changed history.
But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back, fiercely, and they did not spare his life.
Okay.
That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, he suddenly stopped, huh? I wonder why. To make Ayaka and Ayato and all them exist. Someone else attacked the swordsmiths. Looks like the Balladeer did something in Aramosol, but it seems Niwa still died. Yeah, you can't change... I mean, I guess you can change the information about history, but not events, like physical events, like a murder.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well.
So he still exists. Yeah, I mean, his rampage suddenly stopped, quote unquote. He's the same Kaza I know. Things don't seem as bad as I feared last night.
My pleasure.
But what about the Kamisato residents?
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right?
There we go. We're gonna go there next.
Your expression says it all. You can't hide anything from Paimon. On to the next stop. Lead the way, traveler. Paimon will be right behind you.
Hey, it's them!
Akaba, Sawada, you're still here?
You still on about that
Indeed
essay?
we are. If you have a moment, we'd love for you to join us once more.
We have time. What do you want to talk to us about?
It's the same topic we discussed last time. Obviously.
Still looking for more info about Tatarasuna, huh? Should we join them?
Perfect. These two have researched Tatarasuna's past. Let's hear what they have to say.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, especially now.
we haven't made any real progress.
Can I read it again?
Oh, of course.
The content has changed. Another effect of tampering with the information in Irminsul. The Balladeer said he erased 2 of his names. If he really succeeded, it must have taken all of his might. But still.
Well, what do you think?
Hey, traveler. Remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, we just got back from Inazuma. So how about we tell them what we learned?
What did you find out? Something big?
It's a long story. Basically, we have some friends in Inazuma, and...
Tell the writers that you learned about the Raiden Goken
Wow,
and the Tatarasuna
so
history.
many new details. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well, well. So it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the Amanoma clan, you say? Then I guess
Sure
it must
did.
be true. Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
This new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society those days, to the extent that harming them was conceived of, at least by the perpetrator, as a way of exacting revenge against those in power.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with my novel.
And
True.
they're back at it.
Yeah.
These guys are really into this.
Alright, later.
Oh, so sorry. Look at us, prattling on about our projects and ignoring you. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome. See ya.
Keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do.
Alright. Alright, we're back.
Here. Traveler, Paimon, how have you been? Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting and chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then she decided she wanted to go to Inazuma.
I was investigating the situation with the Balladeer.
Balladeer? This sounds like some kind of code name.
Makes sense. She would forget his name too. Oh no!
You look troubled. Is there something you need to tell me?
Even Nahida doesn't remember. Just like last time, any changes in Irminsul affects her as well. The Balladeer acted quickly. He finished erasing himself before Nahida could stop him. I'm the only one who still remembers the things that were erased. Once again, I am the record keeper.
Traveler?
Didn't Zhongli say something about Traveler being a record keeper in his character quest part 1, I think?
Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset.
There are things that have happened that only I can remember. Have to tell you the truth. Are we going to tell her about Rukkhadevata too? With a heavy heart, you piece together the story that was broken and scattered across time. There was once one named the Balladeer, created by the Electro-Archon. He was a puppet who lived among men. After a series of events in Tatarasuna, the Balladeer, thinking he had been thrice betrayed, left Inazuma to roam the world beyond. With no trust for humans and only loathing for the gods, he bore his grudge for years as he grew in strength, then returned to Inazuma to take his revenge. He tried in vain to become a deity with a gnosis and ended up losing everything. Finally, he entered Irminsul and learned the truth behind his betrayal, knowing that his entire life was built on lies. He did the unthinkable in an attempt to reverse his tragic fate.
That's quite a story.
So we're not going to tell her about Rukkhadevata. Gotcha.
So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irminsul, hoping that he could change the past. But how was he even able to do that? As the Traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside the machine after we defeated it. Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Irminsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality. So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because, well, because he literally changed the world?
Pretty much.
Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this. But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it. The Traveler comes from a world beyond Javat. That's why there's no information about her in Irminsul. And it also explains why any changes to Irminsul wouldn't affect her. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it. Paimon's having a hard time understanding this Balladeer guy's motivations. Why did he do it? I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was, only you remember that.
We were enemies after all. I don't know his perspective on all this, so I can't say why he did something so extreme. Did he want to reset everything, or save someone, or did he want to completely undo his existence? I'm gonna go with undo his existence. Everything can be set right. It's time to solve this once and for all. Maybe that's all there is to it. I still remember the question he asked. He asked me specifically, and my hesitation gave him his answer. I hesitated because I witnessed Great Lord Rukkhadevata erase her own existence, but I can't tell Nahida that. Damn, so we're never gonna tell her. To put it another way, I know why the Balladeer was so sure it could work, but I can't tell them that either.
Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share? it couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right? Once the balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. Now he saw them as friends again. He couldn't keep hating humans after that. And if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. This story makes sense. Every part of it.
Or you think it was just to save his friend, though? I don't know. I'm not sold on that.
The balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Irminsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left.
Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return.
Yeah, he changed the world in many ways, and yet the dead still didn't get a second chance. Those fated to a tragic end could not be saved. As I was saying previously, you could change the history, what people think was written in the textbooks, but physically, you can't. So if you were the reason why a building collapsed, you were erasing your existence from history. Like through textbooks and stuff, doesn't make that building new again. What exactly did he want to fight back against? The betrayals in his life, or did he wish he never existed at all?
Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one.
What is that?
It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything she has told us.
Wait, what? You can look... You can go in Emerald and see who deleted the files?
What is it?
Is that basically what's gonna happen?
A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look.
Presented to you in a way that resembles a fairy tale?
Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it?
This matches everything I said. Does that mean she can look to see about Ukadavata's existence?
I authored this record myself.
Huh? You wrote a fairy tale that somehow has something to do with the balladeer?
When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else.
Hold on. So this record survived from the past?
Yes. Any information about the balladeer or the Kabukimono in other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Irminsul changes to that. But Irminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the balladeer entered Irminsul.
Probably the Nahida that knew the balladeer existence before he erased it figured that he might betray them in some type of way. So she made contingency plan.
That's incredible! What a great idea!
Yeah, that's smart.
And sending the traveler into Irminsul with the balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew she'd remember everything.
Yeah.
This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Irminsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one she told us. The now erased life of the balladeer.
So I guess Nahida can't look at Ukadavata if she didn't write anything herself personally, like she did here.
There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends.
The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us.
That's adorable.
Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The
Jesus.
terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure.
Now, is this supposed to be the balladeer or the doctor? I feel like the monster in the fur coat is supposed to be the doctor, and balladeer as the cat.
The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have
Yeah.
decided.
Okay.
You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain for good. Never again would it cherish a single creature, nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content. I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different.
So, becoming the moon, becoming a god, yeah, or a deity. Jesus, when you put it like that, it makes it make it way darker.
I remember now. This is not just the balladeer story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered.
It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion.
He sure did.
Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke.
Yep, the first one in the 1.1 event that you can't play now, by the way, so you might just Google videos of that. And in the Archon quest for Inazuma.
The balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail, that Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Irminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own Harbinger.
True, I didn't even think about that. Then who's going to be the 6th one now? Because someone's have to fill in that spot.
It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better.
This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot. Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along.
Yeah, Nahita's right. Cheer up. How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later.
Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take her out for a walk to clear her head?
You got it. Come on, Traveler. You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel much better after taking a walk. Let's go get a snack from one of the stalls in the Grand Bazaar. That'll be sure to lift our spirits. It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that.
Yeah.
But Paimon's always here to help cheer you up.
Yeah, that alongside remembering Rukkhadevata as well.
We're here! What should we eat first?
I have a nagging feeling like there's something I'm missing, something important that I'm forgetting.
Hey, are you gonna answer or what? Alright, whatever you want. Well, Paimon will be right here when you figured stuff out. Then we can get something to eat.
Come on, brain, let's dig this out. It's gotta be in there somewhere. It was something about Irminsul and deleting oneself. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, Forbidden Knowledge, Nahida.
What is it? Have you figured it all out?
Paimon, relax. Yes, that's it. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. She said that no one can erase themselves from existence, not even her. Oh yeah, she did say that. Otherwise, why would she need to create her own reincarnation in Lesser Lord Kusanali to do the deletion for her? There would be no point.
Why'd you jump up all of a sudden?
No, I can't tell Paimon. She doesn't know about Rukkhadevata. But this is crucially important detail. It's impossible. It's simply not possible for the balladeer to completely erase his own existence. In which case, the question is, what happened to him? Yeah, because he's still around.
Excuse me, boss.
Physically.
There seems to be a small problem with the last bill. Look, here.
Hey! Hey, wait!
You mean me?
No, not you. That kid. Didn't you see? Little rascal grabbed my last 2 fresh Sunsettias and ran off. Look, if you're gonna help out here, you can't keep spacing out, okay? What is it? The work's too boring for you? Or has the big city got too many distractions?
Wait, he's working for somebody now?
I wasn't paying close enough attention. Sorry, boss. I think you're right. Maybe it's the city. It's so exciting. It can be hard to focus.
Who's that guy? You know him or something?
That guy is the Balladeer.
He's who?
You're a strange one, kiddo. You say you don't want any money for helping out here, and then when I actually give you some work to do, you keep letting yourself get distracted. I don't want to take advantage, so I'm happy to pay you what I'd pay anyone else. But if you keep
Good
acting
boss.
like this, pretty soon I won't be able to afford to.
No, please. I mean it. You don't need to pay me anything. I'm just so thankful you agreed to take on an outsider like me.
I see he's still retaining the whole I'm an outcast thing.
You're welcome, I guess. But I got bigger things to worry about. Look, we're all out of Sunsetias, and I promised the lady down the street I'd deliver a fruit bowl this evening.
Leave it to me. I'll find some more. Just a moment. I'll be right back.
Stop. I'm gonna level with you, kiddo. I've never met a worker who said they didn't want a wage before. And at first, I got greedy. Couldn't believe my luck. But I figured you'd start asking for something in return eventually. You don't want money. You don't take days off. And in your free time, all I see you do is wander around, taking in the sights. Are you a drifter or something?
That's right, I am. We can talk more about that later. First, let me get those fruits you needed. Sunsetias, was it? I'll be right back.
Hey, what do we do now?
Follow him.
Stay out of sight. Don't let him see you.
I swear to goodness, if we have to do a sneaking around bit, I'm gonna lose it. Okay, no sneaking around bit. Thank God.
Yeah, this'll do.
Even though you say he's the Balladeer, what are we planning on doing? Stealing his Sunsetias? Isn't that a bit too cruel?
Shut up, Paimon!
Oh, alright.
Shut up!
This should be enough. Guess I should wash them before I take them back.
If I wasn't seeing this with my own eyes, I would never believe it.
Huh? You two over there. Is there something I can help you with?
He spotted us.
You've been following me all the way from the city. I'd have to be blind not to notice. Have we met before?
Kind of. Yes.
No, we haven't met. But you know me? I have no recollection.
It's complicated, yeah, that's putting it a bit lightly.
Are you absolutely sure?
Sorry, but I just can't take your word for it.
I can prove it. You're a puppet. Oh, jeez, yeah, just come out and say it.
A puppet? What makes you think that?
Huh?
You were right. The look on his face.
I guess you do know me after all. That is not something I share with a lot of people. Look, I'm just a wanderer. But seeing as you've gone through all this trouble to track me down, I'm sure whatever it is must be important. Okay, but please let me deliver these goods to my boss first.
Are you really working for that guy? He said you don't want any more for it. Is that true?
Yeah, that's kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I ran into him out in the wilderness during a storm, and he let me take shelter in his cart. In return, I said I'd be his helper for a while.
That's oddly nice of you.
Let me take these back. Then I'll come with you, okay?
Then let's return to the city.
Alright.